All right, what's up? I'm going to be doing the US today. A lot of you guys have been requesting it, but I'm going to be playing an NPC specifically because I feel like a lot of people in like the pro scene will just say, oh, for the US, if you want to be really good, you just got to learn a lot of car meta. And I feel like that's just not really true. It's not that useful. So yeah, I'm going to be playing an NPC and just kind of explaining my guesses, and you get to focus a little more on like vegetation and road and stuff like that. So yeah, more useful. This one, immediately I'm seeing the black lines in between the road. So definitely thinking California. Very interesting landscape. So we have like mountains over here, but then we kind of have this valley with like palms, these like California palms over here. So my first thought is to go somewhere over here in like this sort of area, and we'd be looking at mountains southeast, maybe like San Jacinto here, so we could be in like Beaumont, for example. And it kind of also makes sense because this area, especially as you get more southeast, is kind of a little more patchy in terms of like developed land and just like kind of random agricultural areas. So I think it does make sense for this area over here. Yep. Okay. Right near Hemet. This one, let's see. My first thought was Wyoming, just based off the landscape purely. I feel like you have this very dry, sort of like patchy, like bushes. And down here, we also have like some sagebrush as well, very common in like the whole Great Basin region. Is that water down there? Oh, it looks like it might have water there. But like this bollard as well, I think it might just be like a regular circle bollard, which does make sense for Wyoming as well. But yeah, I was definitely thinking Wyoming, and let's think if we're driving southeast and then we have like a lake or something here, what would make sense? Could be like down there somewhere. Could be one of these, like here. I do feel like it's kind of a bigger highway though, so maybe not. Um, Driving like straight southeast here. Yeah, it could be like this. Why not? We could try that. Okay, nice. It was the right lake. There you go. Flaming Gorge, very cool. Some of the coverage like down here on the Utah side is pretty insane, but yeah, pretty standard Wyoming landscape, I would say there. So yeah, this one, definitely feeling very northern. So I mean, we just have like a million like evergreen trees over here, spammed. Definitely like my first thought here was like Wisconsin maybe. Do we have anything on the pole? No, we don't. We don't have a Wisconsin sticker, so maybe not. Maybe then Minnesota is more likely. But I would definitely be thinking like that part of the Midwest. Michigan, maybe, but probably not so likely. There's like just like a little bit too much like openness, and the trees are not that tall, as you would see probably in a lot of Michigan. So I think Minnesota should be the best option here. Okay, nice. Was all right. Is this California? Yes, it is California, and we actually have a very niche meta here. We have the Imperial County lot or like stripes where they're like closer together. I mean, it looks like Imperial County anyways with how deserty and dry it is, but yeah, that's a pretty useful one. Um, yeah, I think you just go somewhere around here. All right, nice, very cool. And this one also seems like a straightforward Texas. We have the grainy pavement, we have these like wider road lines, a bunch of like eastern red cedar on the side here. So yeah, looks like central-ish Texas. Um, yeah, kind of tough to say exactly where, but somewhere in between like here and like up here. So I think I'd probably just go around there. Okay, a little more west, but yeah, not too bad. Got 5 for 5 here, pretty solid. All right, this one, This one, it looks like we have the reflector in the middle here, which usually you go Alabama or South Carolina on that. This one is a legitimate toss-up on the two. I would maybe slightly lean South Carolina, but it's tough to say. I think just with this very flat, forested landscape, I would, yeah, I would lean South Carolina. Alabama tends to be a little more hilly. I mean, there are some hills here as well, but I think I will just go South Carolina here. Ah, it was Alabama. Okay. Tough one. Tough one for sure. That one is a legitimate toss up, I feel like. Yeah. All right. Let's see. What do we got here? I mean, this one's kind of interesting. Honestly, I don't have any like thoughts off the bat in terms of guessing. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure on this one. Hmm. I was tempted to go like Pennsylvania or something here. So like we have a lot of trees here. I think this might be an eastern white pine with the way the like leaves kind of go along the branch. Then we have like another evergreen tree over here, which you'd commonly see in like Pennsylvania or like New York in that area. I feel like, um, yeah, and there's really not a lot to go off of here. It could be New York as well. I think New York is a valid option as well. The house doesn't feel super like northern to me. That's kind of why I'm leaning away from anything more north. Yeah, I feel like Pennsylvania might be the best option here, but it could be something else. Let's see. Okay, nice. It was Pennsylvania. Yeah. All right. Um, this one, my first thought was Nebraska. This sort of landscape definitely reminds me of the Nebraska sandhills, where you just get these like small hills all around. Very common in that area. Um, yeah, I mean, there's not really much else to go off of here. I would say with the amount of vegetation as well, I wouldn't go too far north. I don't think it looks like North Dakota. We wouldn't have this much sort of vegetation along the sides over here. So yeah, I think I'm like in Nebraska here. I'm gonna go for it. Ooh, it was actually North Dakota. Okay, that's funny because I literally said that it wouldn't be. Let's take a look at it because honestly, I think this one is kind of a tricky one. Yeah, for sure, I feel like North Dakota is a state where you would get these types of hills the most, like the second most after Nebraska. Maybe, mm, I don't know. I don't think I don't think it's as easy as North Dakota, especially with how much vegetation there is all around. I guess it's due to us being kind of on like a river valley here, but I would say it is rather unusual. Yeah, tough one. But, it's fine. Ooh, we got some snow here, but very dry landscape. We have a bit of sagebrush, but not too much, and then we have this sort of I would say this is I don't remember what it is. I think it's a type of juniper, but I forget what it's called. It might be Western red cedar to be honest, but I'm not sure. And then we also have a little yucca or something like that. I mean, for sure 100% this has to be either Arizona or New Mexico with this vegetation, like somewhere in kind of like the more northern halves of the state. Um, like differentiating between the two on a location like this on a dirt road is kind of difficult. But yeah, I mean, I'd maybe slightly lean New Mexico. I feel like just you're more likely to see a dirt road like this in New Mexico, but it could definitely be Arizona as well. So tough one for sure. But yeah, let's just go for New Mexico here. Okay, nice. It was, and it was literally right next to the border, which does make sense. All right, this one. First thing I'm seeing here is like some very thick lines, and I feel like that is most common in sort of like these states, like Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, even. So yeah, I would be thinking that area. It's very forested. We have, um, yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what kinds of trees we got here. This might just be Eastern red cedar, or it might be something else. It's tough to say. I'm, I feel like, hmm, yeah, I don't know. This is a tough one, I would say. It's a tough one to really get the state. My first thought was just West Virginia. I feel like when you're just kind of on a road like this in the hills, West Virginia is just the best option, but I could definitely see another state nearby being a good option as well. So it's a tough one, but I think I'm just gonna go West Virginia here and we'll see. Okay, nice. Yes, it was West Virginia. Okay. Good. Pretty good. Yeah, then Nebraska, North Dakota, and then Alabama, South Carolina, but I think those are like legitimate toss-ups. Probably with a little more practice those are gettable myself, but yeah, it's been a while since I've really like sat down and practiced US. Okay, this one is extremely generic, I must say. It is a tough one for sure. I mean, we really don't have a lot to go off of here. What I am seeing is a lack of any pines, and I would say besides this tree, which seems rather dead here, not a lot of the trees are that tall. Just kind of reminds me more of like the Midwest rather than like anywhere in like the Northeast, for example. Maybe like Western New York, but that's about the extent that I would go. But I would kind of be thinking somewhere a little more central here. Um, but now that I say that, I do think Western New York is actually not a bad option as well. But yeah, I would be thinking like Ohio, Indiana, possibly Illinois. Like Chicago area could have something crazy, but I think probably leaning a little more east here. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if we really have anything to go off of, anything that useful here. Um, I mean, the road doesn't really follow like a grid, which is noteworthy, I guess. I mean, you can certainly find roads like that in any of the three states, but I feel like New York might be the most likely with that. So I do feel like New York is definitely a good option here. Yeah, I'm tempted to go for it. I do feel like New York might just be a good option here, like around like Rochester, for example. Why not? Let's try. I mean, it could definitely be like more west, but ooh, it was even Rhode Island there. That is kind of crazy. I would say that's a very unusual Rhode Island, but I don't know. I think Rhode Island is just one of those states that is very tough to guess. So yeah, New York is not all that bad of a guess there in the end. Okay, this one is a very clear Arizona. We have a bunch of cholla here. This flowering sort of little plant here is cholla, very, very common in like the southern part of Arizona, especially around here. And Yeah, I mean, just these sorts of mountains as well. Like Arizona will just have like random mountains sticking out, kind of with this like jagged shape. I feel like that's very common all over the state. So yeah, I would just go somewhere down here and see. Okay, nice. Very good, very good. Okay, this is kind of diabolical because I mean, we're just looking at a house here. It's a weird location, I would say. Firstly, it looks surprisingly dry. I feel like, yeah, we have this sort of grassy landscape, but this is very much like artificial. And like you can see here, like the patchiness of the dirt, and then over here where they planted just like a little more like bushes and stuff, and like over here as well, same patchiness. So I think this is actually more west than what you might initially think. So, and then also this, is that like aspen or something? That's kind of interesting. Um, yeah, so obviously that doesn't really help narrow down that much. I think there's still a lot of options here. Um, One option that I thought of was like the Denver area. I think, firstly, I think with like a sort of neighborhood like this, we have to be somewhat near a major city. I'd be surprised if we're like out in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, Denver is an option here, but I think it might even be a little too dry for Denver. And then my other thoughts were like Boise or like Salt Lake City area. But I feel like if we're in the Salt Lake area, we would see some mountains and like there might be one over there, but it's tough to say. I feel like Idaho might be the most likely option here. That doesn't necessarily have to be Boise, it could be like Twin Falls or something as well. But yeah, I think actually maybe like Twin Falls might be even more likely. Um, but yeah, I think with the dryness, I don't think it's any more south. I think it would be too dry, or like this area would get too dry. Same with Nevada. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just don't think Nevada would have something like this. And then, yeah, I mean, I think probably Idaho is my best option with like just how flat and open and somewhat dry it is. Um, yeah, if it's not, it could even be like Wyoming or something. So, but I kind of like Idaho here, so I'm gonna try that. Okay, nice. I mean, that honestly, like that was purely off like the vegetation and like, yeah, I mean, that was, yeah, I think that was a really good guess just because that was like a really difficult location there. So, yeah. Okay. This one, we have a lot of vegetation here, but not a lot to work with, to be honest. We have some bollards here, but honestly, bollards in the US are kind of like sometimes they can be somewhat useful, but there's a lot of random ones, and these ones I can't say I really recognize here. We have a lot of vegetation, but it's like deciduous trees. It's no pines, which is kind of notable. But the trees are kind of taller. I'm like my first thought when I loaded into this was like Tennessee, Kentucky. I feel like just the sort of the vegetation, the slight hilliness. Yeah, I feel like it definitely makes sense for like Tennessee, Kentucky. Um, yeah, it's a tough one for sure. I think I might go. That one is such a toss up. Tennessee, Kentucky is like the worst, honestly. I mean, it's literally just a straight line, and it could be either side of the border. But yeah, I'm gonna lean Tennessee here. I could definitely see Kentucky as well, but yeah, I'm just gonna go in Tennessee, and we'll see. Ooh, it was Pennsylvania. Okay, that one, that one's tough. That one is definitely tough. I don't know that there was anything here that really pointed me towards Pennsylvania. I didn't think maybe Tennessee was a little too southern of a guess, but I don't know. I don't really get a Pennsylvania vibe there. But yeah. Okay. Farley Road. Is that a New Jersey plate? I think that might be a New Jersey plate here with the yellow. Looks like it. Yeah. This one is kind of a weird New Jersey, to be honest, but I can see it. I can definitely see it. Yeah. I mean, really, there's not much to go off of here. I think the architecture is pretty generic. It looks like a very modern construction, pretty recent, like last 15 years, I would say. So, yeah, I don't know. Just gonna go kind of central here. Okay, yep, nice. Do I do one more? Let's see, how much time are we on? 21 minutes. No, I think I'm gonna call it here. Um, yeah, I mean, we had a mix there. I think overall the most difficult rounds. There's some toss-ups, but I feel like some of those like Eastern forests can definitely be the most difficult. The Rhode Island was quite tough here. Actually, let me look at that location again. Let's see if there's like anything we can do to like troubleshoot this location. Um, no, I mean I wouldn't even say like I don't think any of this vegetation really strikes me as New Englandy. Maybe this tree. Um, oh, I forget what this. I don't remember what this leaf is, but I recognize it. Is it just a maple? Oh, it might just be a maple, which makes sense. I feel like that tree. I feel like you see that a lot more in New England, but otherwise, quite a difficult one. New England tends to be pretty rocky, and I don't see any rocky sort of landscapes here. Um, yeah, I mean, if we're looking this way, like this, um, very square shaped sort of house is very New Englandy, but yeah, getting Rhode Island in the first place is gonna be very difficult because that's just that one state. Like, yeah. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully, there was some useful stuff there. So yeah,